तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Nectar of Devotion series, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We have been discussing the first characteristics of Uttama Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti, that is Kleshagni. And Papam is because of two things, Prarabdha and Aprarabdha. And by practicing pure devotional service, both Prarabdha as well as Aprarabdha are completely destroyed. For Aprarabdha, Rupa Goswami gives a quote from the Uddhav Gita, and for Prarabdha, he gives from the Kapil Shiksha as well as from the Padma Puran. And yesterday we had a long discussion on the Padma Puran verse. Sorry, I've been having a little cold. We had a long discussion on the Padma Puran verse. How, when we commit a sinful act, the reactions manifest at four different levels or stages. First, it is in the unmanifest form, in the form of aprarabdha. Then it is in the form of kutam. Kutam later on turns into bija. It's a karma bija, reaction. And then it manifests in the form of prarabdha. So yesterday, I hope the discussion was very clear. Those who could not attend yesterday's discussion, I would recommend that they can go through the class, and then if you have any clarification, you can discuss. So after this, Rup Goswami now speaks about how bhakti destroys avidya. Avidya haratvam yata chaturte. So this is again a famous verse spoken by the Kumaras to Maharaj Prutu. Yat pad pankaj palasa vilasa bhaktya karmashayam gratitam udgratayanti santa tadvanna riktamatayo yatayo piruddha shroto ganastam aranyam bhajavasudevam. So again, this verse also can be memorized. It's a very, very beautiful verse, and it is a very hope-giving verse, especially for sadhakas, that it is only by the process of bhakti that deep-rooted avidya can be destroyed. And although others, like the Ashtanga yogis and the Gyanis, they try very strenuously to become free from these desires, but it is not possible. And it is only possible by Tam Aranyam Bhaja Vasudevam. So let us see the translation. The devotees, Santa, by actions of service, Vilasa Bhaktya, to the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord, Yad Pada Pankaja Palas, can very easily overcome Udagratayanti, the knot of ignorance carrying unlimited impressions of karma tied tightly by action. Karma ashayam gratitam. Gratitam means the granthi or the knot. And this knot of ignorance is why? Karma ashayam. Karma means actions. And we have desire to enjoy in this world and we perform actions and there are reactions. So like this, there is a whole knot of unlimited impressions of karma, which itself is avidya in one sense. That's why avidya hartvam, this is the reference. So the anadi karma, which is there, the unlimited impressions in the heart, this is karma shayam gratitam. Because this is very difficult, tadvat, the empty-minded non-devotees, the jnanis and the yogis, rikta matayo, although trying to stop the flow of sense activities, shroto gana. Shroto means that which flow. The senses flow towards the sense objects. Gana means a set, like Gana means actually a group. So the group of senses refer to the karmendriyas and the gyanendriyas, especially gyanendriyas. Shroto gana yatato api. Yatato means they are endeavoring very, very strenuously to stop the flow of the senses, especially the path of negation, which is trying to withdraw the senses from the sense objects, the Gyan and the Ashtanga Yoga Marg. In the Bhakti Marg, we engage the senses in the service of the Lord. But in the other paths, especially the Gyan and Ashtanga Yoga, there is negation of the senses. So they withdraw the senses from the sense objects. Although they try, they endeavor, cannot do so. Na ruddha. Therefore, you are advised to engage in devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Bhaja tam aranyam Vasudevam. So this is the reference Rupa Goswami is giving. Now let us see Jiva Goswami's commentary on this. First, we will see Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, because he has given very poetic explanation here. The ability of Naishtiki Bhakti to destroy avidya or ignorance is illustrated. So what kind of bhakti destroys avidya? Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is making it clear, Naishtiki Bhakti. That is bhakti actually which is at the stage of Nishta. And later on, both Vishwanath Chakra Thakur and Rupa Goswami will clarify that avidya is destroyed only at the stage of bhava. That later on they'll clarify. But Naishtiki Bhakti has this ability to destroy avidya. Palas. Palas refers to petal, refers to the Lord's toes in this verse. Vilas means distinctive sport. So Vilas means distinctive sport or movement with distinction. Visheshena las. Vishesha. V means Visheshena las. Special movement. In other words, beauty increasing at every moment. Bhakti has two forms, sadhana, practice, and sadhya, perfection. So there's a footnote here. The sadhya form is mentioned here because the final destruction of the knot of ignorance actually takes place in bhava bhakti, not sadhana bhakti, though sadhana bhakti leads to bhava bhakti. So this is the final knot of ignorance. In fact, at the stage of nishtha, one becomes a self-realized soul. But avidya destruction begins from there. But the final destruction of avidya happens at the stage of bhava. And at the stage of bhava, one's swarupa is revealed. What is he there in the spiritual world? One's rasa with Krishna is revealed. So, in that sense, complete destruction. Atyantiki means complete destruction of avidya happens at the stage of bhava bhakti and not sadhana bhakti. Karmashayam means ahankar filled with impressions of karma. That is the meaning of karmashayam. This is tightly knotted, gratitam. This is equated with avidya. The hridaya granthi refers to the same. So in the Bhagavatam also, if you go through the Bhagavad Dharma series, which is in the first canto, second chapter, I think verses 15 to 22. Bhidyante hridaya granthi, chinnante sarva samshaya, shriyante chasya karmani, Dhrusht evatmanishware. So there also the Hridaya Granthi has been referred. So this both Karma Granthi and Hridaya Granthi are the same. It referring to the knot of ignorance, knot of ahankar. Please worship Vasudev, the shelter. The Vaishnavas, Santa, untie the knot of ahankar filled with impressions of karma, tied tightly by the jiva's previous actions, by now performing actions to the Lord which have the opposite effect by the process of bhakti, progressing from sadhana to sadhya, which is offered to the lotus petal toes, whose beauty increases at every moment. So, palas refers to petals, and the lotus petal toes that is what the poetic description is. And vilas is what? Where the beauty, nitya nava yuvamanayam, newer and newer beauty, the beauty keeps on increasing. So that is vilas. So this is Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary. Renunciates yatata cannot do the same. Why? Their minds are without objects of thought. Rikta mataya, they are without minds because they don't focus their minds on some positive spiritual form of the Lord. They try to just empty the mind. Like persons without wealth, they are without intelligence. Contemptible persons, asanta. Santas, commendable persons, on the other hand, have their minds concentrated on the Lord. They have good intelligence. The renunciates have attempted to stop the group. Gana means I said the group of senses which flow like rivers, shrotos. So shroto means river is also called as shroto because it flows. But just as it is impossible to stop the flow of a river, this attempt to stop the senses is a sign of their foolishness. On the other hand, the santas engage their eyes and other senses in the sweetness of the Lord's beauty and other qualities. They are very intelligent and happy. Aranyam means shelter. So that's how Vishwanath Chakra Thakur explains the purport. Now, in Prabhupada's commentary, he gives a very, very interesting explanation. He says, just like in the river, there are waves. So the senses trying to stop the sense activity is like trying to stop the waves in the river. And that is not possible. That is why the Gyanis and Yogis fail. They are trying to stop the waves in the river. We know that story of a person who was standing besides the river for a long time. He wanted to take bath, but he was standing for a long, long time. Then one inquisitive person asked, "Why are you standing for so long time?" "No, I want to take the bath, but I'm waiting when the waves in the river will stop." So this person started laughing. Oh, the waves of the river never stop. So the waves of the senses flowing to the sense objects for sense gratification, these are because of karmashayam, unlimited impressions in the heart. So they keep on going in that direction. You cannot stop them. It is shroto, that which flows from the higher realms to the lower realms. It's a natural flow. It's not possible. So the asanta, that is the Gyanis and Yogis, trying to stop the senses flowing to the sense objects is like trying to stop the waves in the river. How many unlimited waves keep on coming? Now the devotees, Prabhupada gives this very interesting explanation. The devotees uh, who are like in the river where there are waves, the rivers flow to the ocean. We all know that. And the devotees create such huge waves in the rivers that when they go to the ocean also gets affected by the heavy waves of the rivers. It's like the ocean getting affected. It's not possible. But here, what Prabhupada means is that the devotees engage so much the senses in the service of the Lord that just like the rivers sometimes can create waves, such huge waves that it can go and agitate the ocean and the ocean is disturbed. So by performing unlimited devotional service, which are like the waves in the river, the Lord uh, becomes, alarmed. Who is this devotee who is serving me? And he wants to come and see that devotee. So this is like the ocean being agitated. So that's why Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, don't try to see God. Serve God in such a way that God wants to come and see you. So this is how Prabhupada very beautifully in his purport explains that. So now we will go to Jiva Goswami's commentary on this. Taking up the topic of Naishtiki Bhakti's ability to destroy avidya, the author illustrates this with two verses. Note, again, this is the same point which Vishwanath Chakra Thakur has made. The implication is that without study bhakti, one cannot pass through the stages of ruchi and asakti to bhava. In bhava, the knot of ignorance, avidya, is destroyed. However, the stage of nishtha by itself does not destroy ignorance as illustrated in the Bhagavatam verses quoted here. So these two verses will quote. So I mentioned that only when one comes to the stage of Naishtiki Bhakti, that is Nishtha, then he can come to the stage of Ruchi, Asakti and Bhava. And only in the stage of Bhava, Avidya is fully destroyed. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur or Bharu Maharaj is making a quote at Nishtha itself, Avidya is not destroyed, but the process begins in one sense. Because as I mentioned, at the stage of Nishtha, one almost becomes like a self-realized soul. Brahmabhuta Prasannatma. Riktamataya, persons with empty minds, means those persons whose mind are devoid of meditation on the Lord. Aranyam means shelter, same meaning. Using the process of hearing to represent all the devotional processes, Sut Goswami gives the progression in destroying avidya or the knot in the heart in the following verses starting from Shunvata Sukata Krishna, that is 1 to 17 to 21. So let us go to these verses. Shunvata Sukata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridantasto Yabhadrani Idunoti Surit Satam. The Lord in the heart destroys the desire for sense gratification from the heart of the devotee who has developed taste for hearing Krishna Katha. Shunvata Sukata Krishna refers to the stages of Shraddha to Anarth Nivritti. Because here it is mentioned, Ridhantasto Abhadrani Vidhanoti. Vidhanoti means the Lord cleanses the heart of material desires. Then next verses. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. With continuous hearing of Krishna Katha, one then reaches the stage of steady practice of devotional service. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. Almost all the Abhadra are destroyed. How? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, by continuous hearing of Krishna. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, who is glorified in Uttama Shloka. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki, the devotion becomes steady. So this is indicating the stage of Nishta. Then, Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamaro Kamalobascha Etait Chet Eter Anavidham Stitvam Satve Prasidati. Then the moods of passion and ignorance disappear and pure goodness is established in the heart and he becomes completely happy. So this indicates the stages of Ruchi and Asakti. This is all as per Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary on his Bhagavatam. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur makes it very clear how each of these verses explain the different stages of bhakti. Tada rajastamo bhava kama lobhadaschayate. That refers to Ruchi. Chet ete anavadam stitvam satve prasidati refers to the stage of asakti, he says. Then, evam prasanna manasa bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Then such a person gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. So this indicates the stage of Bhava. At this stage, the knot of ignorance within the heart is cut and one sees the Supreme Lord. Vidhyante Hridaya Granthi. Destruction of avidya happens at the stage of Bhava. Hridaya Granthi Vidhyante. Vidhyante means it is cut. Chindante Sarva Samshaya. Shiyante Chasya Karmani. Drishta Eva Atmana Ishvara. So when one attains this stage of Bhava, what happens next is referred in that next verse, that is Vidyante Hridaya Granthi. So avidya gets destroyed at the stage of Bhava. So that becomes very clear. So now devotees should be very, very clear that Kleshagni, Prarabdha and Aprarabdha get destroyed in the stages of sadhana bhakti itself. Whereas Bijam also starts getting destroyed in the sadhana stage, but avidya gets destroyed at the stage of bhava. And we should remember that sadhana bhakti begins from Shraddha up to the stage of asakti. And especially from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti, this is in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti category. And Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti are in Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Both are Sadhana Bhakti. So Sadhana Bhakti anyway leads to Bhava Bhakti. So at the end of Sadhana Bhakti, with the beginning of Bhava Bhakti, avidya gets destroyed. That is the highest klesha. The deep-rooted klesha, the knot of material existence, is completely destroyed, and one is liberated, and one is on the transcendental platform. So, any questions, any clarifications regarding this verse? Avidya haratvam. Anyone has any questions regarding this? Okay, so then we will go to the next reference given by Rupa Goswami. So now in the next verse, that is of Bhakti Rasamrita, the 26th verse, he gives a second reference from the Padma Puran. Kritanuyatra vidyabhi hari bhakteраnuttama avidyam nirdahati ashu dhava jwalena pannigim. As the forest fire burns up a female snake demon, dhava jwala pannigim iva. Pannigim refers to the female snake. Devotion, supreme devotion to the Lord. Hari Bhaktir Anuttama. Anuttama means supreme devotion or pure devotion, you can say. Quickly burns up avidya completely. Ashu avidya nirdhati. By the knowledge, vidya, which accompanies bhakti. Krita anuyatra vidyabhi. So this is the second reference apart from the fourth canto Rupa Goswami is giving. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Kritanu Yatra Vidyabir means by knowledge which follows after. Like in the Shikshashtam, we have Vidya Vadur Jivanam. Such knowledge appears by itself along with the practice of bhakti, even though there is no desire for it. As it is said, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janeti Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Tad Ahetukam. So, knowledge and renunciation are the byproducts of devotional service, and we don't separately endeavor for it. So that's how same point is here. Anuttama means most attractive. Pannigim means a female snake. Now, why it is referring to a female snake, even I'm not aware. Maybe those who stay in the mountains and especially this Sayadri Hills, they might be knowing why, especially here they are referring to a female snake. There was some discussion last time, I remember, among the devotees, why specifically it is referring to that. Now, maybe these female snakes go deep down in the land, and only when there is a fire in the forest, the fire enters deep down, it also burns these snakes. So similarly, avidya is very deep rooted in the heart, and only pure devotion can burn this. So that's why it is referring, maybe that is the reason, I feel. That's just one explanation which was given. Now, Srila Prabhupada on this verse. The example is being given in this connection that when there is forest fire, the extensive blazing automatically kills all the snakes in the forest. So here that extensive blazing is, practice of pure devotional service. And especially when the fire goes deep down under the ground also, where these holes are there, where these female snakes stay. There are many, many snakes on the ground of the forest. And when a fire takes place, it burns the dried foliage and the snakes are immediately attacked. Animals who have four legs can flee from the fire or can at least try to flee, but the snakes are immediately killed. So Prabhupada gives this explanation. Similarly, the blazing fire of Krishna consciousness is so strong that the snakes of ignorance are immediately killed. So this, with this discussion, now we finish the first characteristics of pure devotional service, that is Kleshagni. Now we will go to the second quality, Shubhada, bestowal of auspiciousness. The next verse of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Shubhani prinanam sarva jagatam anuraktata sadguna sukam iti adini akhyatini manishivi. The wise explain that there are four types of auspiciousness, Shubha. There are four types of auspiciousness. Bhakti is Shubhada, right? But this Shubhani Akhyatini Manishivi. Manishi means the wise. Affection for all living entities, Prinanam. Being attracted to all living entities, Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata. Possession of good qualities, Sadguna, and happiness, Sukham, as well as other items, Iti Adini. So there are many, but four things primarily are, there are four types which it is divided, Shubha. There is affection for all living entities, Prinanam. All living entities are also attracted to that pure devotee, that is being attracted to all living beings. Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata Tata Sadguna, possession of good qualities, and happiness, Sukham. So each of these, or few of them, Rup Goswami is going to give references from the Shastra. Jagat Prinanam, affection for all jivas. Sarva Jagata Anurakta, being attractive. Sad Gunadi Pradatvam, bestowal of all good qualities. Sukha Pradatvam, bestowal of happiness. And this Sukha, Rupa Goswami will further on in the verse explains that this Sukha is of three types. Vaishekyam, Brahmyam, Aishwaryam. Vaisheshyam means happiness from material things, or this is called sometimes as Jadananda. And Brahmyam refers to happiness from Brahman realization. So this is called as Brahmananda. And Aishwaryam refers to happiness from the Supreme Lord. And this is called as Sevanand or Bhakti Anand. So Jadanand, Brahmanand, and Premanand or Bhakti Anand. So these are the four. These are the three in Sukha. Now let us go to Jiva Goswami's commentary. Prinana or affection for the world means that he works for the world's benefit. So this is what affection for the world means. The whole world is also attached to this person who works for the benefit of all beings. So he has affection for all jivas. So that's why he does the highest work of preaching the message of pure devotional service. This is how he works for the world's benefit. And the world becomes also attached to him because he is working for the benefit of all living beings. Though these two items are actually included within possession of good qualities, the third type of Shubha, they are listed separately to show their superiority above all other qualities. Or though these two qualities may be included in the attainment of good qualities, they should not be relegated to the status of mere constituents. So although this, that he has affection for all living beings and all living beings are attracted to him, you can include in Shadguna, Sadguna, but still they have this superiority, and that's why Rup Goswami is mentioning them as separately. Rather, they are the very Swarupa, the very essence of all good qualities. Therefore, they should be listed separately. So these two qualities, Prinanam and Jagat Anurakta, is listed separately. This quality of being honored by all others is also noted in the story of Dhruva. Yasya prasanna Bhagavan Gunairmaitriadibirhari Tasmai namanti bhutani nimnama ivasa nimnama Nimnam apa iva swayam. Unto one who has transcendental qualities. Yasya prasanna bhagavan gunair. Due to friendly behavior with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maitri Adibir Hari. All living entities offer honor. Tasmai namanti bhutani. And what is the analogy? Just as water automatically flows down by nature. Nimna apa iva swayam. Swayam means naturally flows down. The water naturally flows down. It is natural. Similarly, all living entities just bow down in honor uh, to offer respects to one who has got pure devotion. Now, this is a very interesting verse from the Dhruva Maharaj pastime. And this verse is spoken when Dhruva Maharaj returns back from the after performing austerities in the jungle, and the whole kingdom, even Uttanapad, Suruchi and Suniti, it was Suruchi, the stepmother, who had very heavily criticized Dhruva, and Dhruva became very angry, and then at the age of 5 he had left. Now Dhruva, with 6 months of austerity, had attained the Lord. He had darshan of the Lord and he had attained perfection. Now he is returning back. And I guess it is Suruchi only, his stepmother. She also, seeing Dhruva, she also bowed down. Now, it is not that Suruchi became transformed and became a devotee, and that's why she is bowing down to Dhruva Maharaj. It is because of the devotional qualities, because now Dhruva is possessing the Lord in the heart. So just like water naturally flows down, automatically flows down by nature, similarly, for a pure devotee, all living entities, tasmai namanti bhutani, all living beings bow down to him. All living entities offer honor to him. It's not that Suruchi's heart was transformed, that she bowed down, but it is natural for one who possesses transcendental qualities, because he has now attained the Lord, or he has a friendly behavior with the Lord. The mention of other items, Adini, indicates such things as controlling all others and producing auspiciousness in all others. So controlling all others is because of the verse which we discussed in NOI. Vacho vegam manasakrodha vegam, jivva vegam udarapasta vegam, etan vegan yo vishayadhira, sarvam apimam prithvim sashishyat. So he is able to control others because of his love. And we know when Sukdev Goswami was born, immediately he took to the Paramhamsa stage and left to the forest. And his father was feeling separation from the son. Putriti, Putriti, ha putra, he was calling him out. And he only heard the echo because of the trees echoed back. Oh son, oh son. And even all the trees were embodied in lower, they are lower beings, they are jiyas embodied in tree species. They also were feeling separation from Vyasdev, from Sukdev Goswami. And they were also, just like the father was feeling separation from the son, they were also feeling separation. Because by his yoga bala, by his pure devotion, Sukdev Goswami was Sarva Jagat Anurakta. He was attractive to all living beings. So that's how the example is, Now, Srila Prabhupada gives explanation on this verse. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for the people of the world. Yes. So that is propagating bhakti. The Krishna conscious movement is so nice that it can render the highest benefit to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this movement and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rup Goswami and other learned scholars, Manishibi, that was a term used by Rup Goswami in the verse, agree that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna conscious movement of devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity. So this is how Prabhupada clarifies Prenanam. Now, in the next verse, Jagat Prenanam and Jagat Anurakta, for both of them, he gives one reference from the Padma Puran. Tatra Jagat Prenanadi Dvaya Pradatvam Yatha Padme. Dvaya means both including, he gives one reference. Yenarchito haristena tarpitani jagatyapi rajjanti jantavastatra jangamasthavarapi. He who worships the Lord, Yena Hari Archita, is pleasing to all living entities. Tarpitani Jaganti Api, and all the inhabitants of the world. Jantava Tatra, both moving and non-moving. Jangama Stavarapi are pleasing to him. Tena Rajanti. So this is from the Padma Puran. Now Srila Prabhupada speaks very nicely about this. Although Rupa Goswami is not quoting from the Chaitanya Charitamrita pastimes, but Srila Prabhupada, because he's writing a summary study, he is using that full facility to explain as he likes. So he gives the example. A practical example of this was shown by Lord Chaitanya when he was traveling to the forest of Jharkhand in central India for spreading his Sankirtan movement. The tigers, the elephants, the deer, and all other wild animals joined him and were participating in their own ways by dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. So that is Srila Prabhupada's explanation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example. Now, the next verse is Sadguna Pradatvam. So for this, he gives this famous verse spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kanchana sarver gunastatra samasate sura harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena sati dhavato bahi. The devas constantly dwell, sura samasate, with all good qualities, sarver gune, in tatra, that person who has pure bhakti for the Lord. Yasya akinchana bhagavat bhakti asti. So this akinchana refers to also uttama bhakti. I mentioned uttama bhakti sometimes is referred to kevala bhakti, akinchana bhakti, nirguna bhakti, shuddha bhakti, or as Rupa Goswami says, uttama bhakti. Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita speaks this as ananya bhakti. That is the term Krishna uses in the Gita. So all refer to that same uttama bhakti. There are no good qualities in a non-devotee. Harava abhaktasya kuto mahadguna, who chases after dhavata, temporary material objects, asati bahi, with desire for material pleasure, mano rathena. So this is the verse Rupa Goswami is quoting, and Jiva Goswami gives a commentary. The word adi, other things, have been added to indicate the devotee's ability to control the suras and by extension all other beings. So here, sura doesn't refer that a devotee develops all the qualities in the demigods. That is the explanation the acharyas give, that the devata worshippers can develop the qualities of the devatas. So what's so great if a devotee who is worshipping Krishna develops the qualities of the devatas? No. The pure devotee has the ability to control the suras, that is the devatas, and not only them, the demigods also. all living beings. In fact, the Devatas also become very pleased when they see a pure devotee. Sad Gunadi Pradatvam means that bhakti puts at the command of the devotee all good qualities, the Lord and others as well. So this is again the clear meaning. Sura here actually refers to the Lord, and after the Lord is the Devatas and then all living beings. So all the qualities which are there in the Lord also manifest in him. Sura refers to the Supreme Lord and others. That is first the Lord and then his attendants, the Devatas and Rishis. Samasate means they remain under control. So Sura refers to the Supreme Lord. So all the qualities of the Supreme Lord manifest in that devotee, and even in the Devatas, whatever qualities are there, even in the Rishis, all these qualities manifest. If Bhakti gave only the qualities of the Devatas, that would not be remarkable. Even Devta worshippers can obtain those qualities, which will be predominantly material Satoguna. Thus, Sura means the Lord and others. So that's why Sura here means the Lord. Because the Devtas have also qualities, and these are qualities in the Satvaguna, material goodness. But spiritual qualities belong to the Lord, and that's why Sura refers to headed by the Lord, then the Devtas and the Rishis. Now, Srila Prabhupada on this verse. On the other hand, a person who is not in Krishna consciousness has no good qualities. He may be highly educated from academic point of view, but in actual field of his activities, he can be seen to be baser than the animals. So he is addicted to drinking, he's addicted to eating meat, but he might be well qualified from the material point of view. But Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahatguna. There are no good qualities of one who is not a devotee. Even though a person is highly educated academically, if he cannot go beyond the sphere of the mental activities, then he is sure to perform only material activities and thus remain impure. So that's why, as long as he doesn't take to devotional service, he has only material qualities. He has only material qualities. There are so many persons in the modern world who have been highly educated in the materialistic universities, but it is seen they cannot take up to the moment of Krishna consciousness and develop the high qualities of the demigods. For example, a Krishna conscious boy, even if he is not very well educated by the university standard, can immediately give up all illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. Whereas those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex mongers, and gamblers. So this is the difference Prabhupada is mentioning, that a devotee who takes up to Krishna consciousness, he is able to give up all these qualities, all these bad habits. These are the practical proofs of how a Krishna conscious person becomes highly developed in good qualities, whereas a person who is not in Krishna consciousness cannot do so. We experience that even a young boy in Krishna consciousness is unattached to cinemas, nightclubs, naked dance shows, restaurants, liquor shops, etc. He becomes completely freed. He saves his valuable time for being extravagantly spent in the way of smoking, drinking, attending the theater, and dancing. So this is how Srila Prabhupada explains about how a devotee has all the good qualities. Now, any question, any clarification up till now? Anyone has? I want to take another important discussion with this verse. Vaishali Mataji has a question. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, the first point which you said that the person who is not Krishna conscious does not have a good quality. But we generally see that people are very pious and they have many good qualities, right? How do we understand that point?
Yes, yes. This is one of the most bewildering things what devotees feel. And this is the discussion now we are going to have quite in detail. Okay, so we will discuss this point which Mataji has brought out. Good, you brought out, and I wanted to discuss it. So this verse mentions that uh, those who are devotees of the Lord, they have all the good qualities, all the good qualities. Whereas those who are non-devotees, harava bhaktasya, uto mahat guna, they have no good qualities. Because why? Manorathena asati. Manorathena means mana is ratha. Sometimes, okay, I'll go to the graphic example to explain this, and then I think it will become more clear. Now, uh, two things are here. One is a person in the material world who is born in a good family, who is having very sattvic impressions, and he's a vegetarian, he is well behaved, and he is very controlled in his speech, he is very soft in his speech, he doesn't act harshly or rudely with others, and he has these good qualities. So this is one side. The other side, we see a devotee. This devotee has taken up to Krishna consciousness, and he's practicing Krishna consciousness, but he's coming from a very different background, maybe from the Kirata, Pundra, Pulinda, Andhra, and all this category, or from the Western world, we can see the hippies, or even anyone, whether it is in India or abroad. Today, everyone is, whole material societies like that. So he's coming from a very previous, very bad background. He's he was very tamasic, addicted to all sorts of bad habits, and he has taken up to devotional service. He's taken up to devotional service. He is practicing Krishna consciousness. He's practicing the four regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna. But this devotee sometimes behaves very rudely. He behaves very harshly, and he might not be also that neat and clean as a person who is coming from very good sattvic impressions is. He might not be so soft spoken also. So among these two, first is of a non-devotee who is having some sattvic impressions, who is a vegetarian, and this devotee who has taken up to Krishna consciousness, and he is not coming from a good background. He doesn't behave properly with the devotees. He's rude sometimes. He's harsh. He is sometimes impelled by the modes of passion and ignorance. Among the two, uh, who is better? Raise your hands who would like to answer. There is one hand which has been raised. Ratna Bachati, yes?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. As they say in Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo. So he is doing the highest duty of humanity which is possible. So the person who is trying his best to serve the Lord in any way that he can, in spite of all his faults, is considered higher. Because all that comes in the mode of goodness, which is again influenced by material nature. It is aprarabdha, which has manifested as the good qualities or sattvic lakshan.
Okay. But sometimes we feel, oh, in the devotee circle, sometimes they're very rude in their dealing, they're rough in their dealing. Sometimes, we see outside people, I especially went to a Sanskrit institute and everyone speaks their Sanskrit and they are practically in the mode of goodness. They are very cultured in their speech. They are very well behaved. But we see devotees are not well behaved sometimes. They are not, soft spoken. And the qualities which we speak, the devotee should have, like Kripalu, Dayalu, Shadguna Pradatvam, as it is mentioned, we might see, oh, seems like the devotees don't have these qualities. Maybe the persons who are outside, who are not practicing devotional life, and they are having these sattvic impressions, we see these qualities that they have compassion, they are soft spoken, they are kripalu, something like that we feel. So, this is a bewilderment even for devotees. So, here we have to go deep and understand. Especially, there is one theme of devotional qualities. These devotional qualities, what Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is speaking, or these Vaishnava qualities, which the Vaishnava theology speaks, they manifest in the devotee, especially the qualities Shukada means Shubhadha, they manifest in the devotees in the higher stages of bhakti, especially at the stage of Nishta Ruchi, where Jivadaya, genuine Jivadaya, Kripalu, fine in his speech. But before Anarth Nivritti, sometimes because of impelled by the previous impressions, the devotees are not good in their behavior or they are very rude and harsh. But we have to understand that he has taken up to devotional service. And Prabhupada, that's why practically in his explanation, he is giving a very practical hint that although our boys are not highly educated in universities, but they have given up illicit sex, they are not meat eaters, they are not sex mongers, and they are given up gambling. Whereas in the outside world, they might be academically highly qualified, but they are completely controlled by these baser qualities. So that's why Prabhupada is mentioning that. So as devotees, even if we see that, in the devotional circle, in our community, we don't see what, this verse is speaking, or what the qualities, the, 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, which are mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we don't see, except in some very elevated devotees like sannyasis, we don't see them, but we should see that these devotees have given up the material way of life. They are practicing the four regulative principles. That itself is very, very great compared to anything. Compared to anything, it's very, very great. Even Prabhupada says that people are addicted to drinking tea and they cannot give tea and coffee. But devotees have given up that. So we should see that first in the life of the devotees. See that those qualities, except that these higher qualities like kripa, daya, they will manifest in the later stages when they cross anarth nivritti. So this is the important point we should note. Now, the second thing is a little philosophical explanation. Now, there are two types of people who are, uh, in one sense, completely, they are not affected by this material world. They are like the Paramhamsas who are transcended this material world, and those who are in deep, deep ignorance, the mad people in this world. So both are unaffected in this material world in one sense, but there is quite a lot difference between the Paramhamsas and those who are mad in this material world in deep ignorance. The people who are mad in this world, they are instinctive, that they act instinctively, impelled by the uh, senses towards sense objects. But the Paramhamsas also act instinctively, but they are impelled by divine instincts. Just like Mukunda, when he had gone to visit the king, he saw that the king was being fanned by a peacock feather. And seeing the peacock feather, he immediately remembered Krishna and he went into ecstasy. So the Paramhamsas are impelled by divine instincts, whereas the mad people in this world, they are impelled by the instincts, the lower instincts of the senses and the sense objects. And in between these Paramhamsas and those who are deep ignorance are us, be it materialists or devotees who are sadhakas, who are suffering. Now, in the Puranjan pastime, we know the story of Puranjan, which comes in the fourth canto. Now, uh, anyone knows in the Puranjan pastime, the chariot is compared to what? What is the chariot compared to? Anyone knows? Can raise their hands? Anyone knows what is the chariot compared to? Madan Mohan Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
The chariot is our gross and subtle body, being the driver, and the
No, no,
reins
no, no.
are the mind.
You are going into the Katha Upanishad's explanation, the Upanishad's
Oh,
explanation, which Prabhupada gives in the Bhagavad Gita. But I am speaking in the Puranjan analogy, which is there in the fourth canto. What is the chariot compared there to? What is the chariot compared to? Anyone knows? Okay. So the chariot there is compared to the mind. The chariot is compared to the mind. Just like in the song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gopinath, Gopinath, Mama Nivedana Shuno, Vishay Durjane, Sada Kame Rata. Kame Rata. I am driving on the chariot of Kama. So, like that, in the Puranjan analogy, the chariot is compared to the mind. And the 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 senses, the charioteer has these arrows which are like the material desires. The material desires. The material desires are like the arrows. Now, the two chariot wheels is compared to the intelligence. It is compared to the intelligence. Dhavato Bahi. Dhavato Bahi means what? Dhavato means running after, chasing after. Bahi means external sense objects. So these two wheels are the wheels of Raga and Dvesh. Raga means I have sattvic impressions and I am attracted to vegetarian food. I am a vegan. So this person who has sattvic impressions, he is naturally inclined towards vegetarian food because of his sattvic impressions. So Mano Rathena Asati Dhavato Bahi. He's running towards I'm a vegetarian. He'll propagate, he'll write on his t-shirt that I'm a vegan. He's proud of it. And he thinks he's pure because he's eating vegetarian food. And the Dvesh, that is the next chariot wheel, is actually the Dvesh. So this person who is having these sattvic impressions, he has natural distaste for eating non-vegetarian food. He is in fact not attracted to it. So that is why this person is compared to Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahadgunat. Because he is simply impelled by Raga and Dvesh. Raga, he is, it is Sankalpo hi mana and Vikalpa. Sankalpa means, oh, this is good for me, let me go for it. This vegetarian food is good for me, let me go for it. Non-vegetarian food, Vikalpa, the mind negates it. It's all based on what? Raga and Dvesh, based on his sattvic impressions. Now, for a devotee, the second case we had taken for the devotee, this devotee has been coming from a previous very bad background, maybe from a tamasic background. and he is now practicing bhakti. And whenever he sees, because he was addicted to maybe meat eating, he's battling to give up that habit, or he might be addicted to smoking. So there was one example of a devotee in one of our temples. He was a chain smoker, and somehow one day he came and had darshan of Gopinath, one of his friend had got, and he so much became attracted that he started coming and attending the morning program. And in the morning program, during the Tulsi Aarti, he's standing in the Tulsi Aarti, attending the Tulsi Aarti, but in his mind, when will this Aarti get over and then go and smoke? So he used to, after attending the Tulsi Aarti, run down the temple, go outside and smoke a cigarette and come back again for the chanting session. So this person was a chain smoker, and chain smoker means he is to smoke one cigarette, and moment that cigarette is to get over, he is to light another cigarette from that previous cigarette and then continue smoking. So this person who was a chain smoker came to devotional life, and slowly, being a chain smoker, he came down with smoking only 2 packets or 3 packets a day, and that too in intervals, breaks. And while smoking also, although he was attending the program, he was crying, tears were in his eyes. He did not want to do this, but still he was impelled by the impressions because of his previous habit. And slowly, from 2 packets or 3 packets a day, he came to 1 packet, and then few cigarettes, then 2 cigarettes, and then no cigarettes. So, although he is also riding on the chariot, the bows and arrows are there in the form of attraction to sense objects or the impressions in the heart, but his wheels, the wheel is compared to the intelligence, the 2 wheels, that is what? Raga and Dvesh. But here, now because he has taken up to devotional service, it is what? Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. So now, although the senses are driving him towards sense objects, the chariot is going in that direction, but the wheels are opposing it. You can imagine the situation. The chariot wants manorathena, the mind is going in that direction, but the intelligence is now driven by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and the wheels are not ready to move in that direction. So there is an internal battle going on within himself because of his new value system. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, because he has taken up to devotional service. Now this devotee is been battling to get rid of his previous habits. And this Krishna sees, and Krishna is pleased by his endeavor. And that is why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Api chesu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadur eva samantavya samvyak vyavastito hi saha. Even if while practicing devotional service, if he does something which is durachar, you should not see that. Bhajate mam ananyabhak, because he is engaged in my devotional service. He is a sadhu. He is to be considered a sadhu. Sa eva mantavya. This is my opinion. Why? Samvyak vyavastito hi saha. So these previous impressions, a devotee might be troubled by it, and he is battling because of his new value system. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjam. Krishna is pleased by it. Ultimately, by Krishna's mercy, by Guru's mercy, he'll overcome this conditioning, and slowly he will develop these divine qualities, and ultimately he will go back to the spiritual world. Whereas this first person who has all good qualities which are in the mode of goodness, he is driven by raga and dvesh. He has attraction to sattvic impressions and negation, or there is dvesh towards tamasic impressions. He is ultimately within the modes of material nature, and he will be driven by these impressions itself. And because he is not taken up to devotional service, ultimately those, sattvic impressions, what he has over a period of lifetime, this lifetime or next time, they will come down, and those qualities also will come down. We don't know what will be his next life, because he has not taken up to devotional service. And that is why this verse is saying Harava abhaktasya, one who is not a devotee of Hari, kuto mahadguna, there has no good qualities. Why? Because mano ratena asati dhavato bhahi. His mind is running based on the arrows of material desires. Sattvic impressions, yes. Tamasic impressions, no. So he is based on this sankalpa vikalpa hi mana. He is on the mental platform, whereas a devotee, he is on the Sharnagati platform. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. So this is how we have to understand this. That was the long discussion which we had, which I had to discuss, but anyway, we put forth that question and now it is clear, I think. Is it clear, Vaishali Mataji?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. So now, yes, any questions? Yeah, Lata Mataji has a question. Yes, Mataji? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, in that verse it is said a non-devotee who chases after material pleasure, material object for material pleasure. In nectar of instruction, we have read like a person, if he takes the holy name of the Lord at least even once also, he is considered as a Vaishnava. So at least for India, we consider like all of us Hindus, at least they would have taken the holy name of the Lord, and maybe they may be going after the material pleasures. Are they considered non-devotees?
Okay. So, see, when any book defines particular definitions, you will have to see from that angle itself. Now, when Rupa Goswami speaks about who is a Vaishnava, there he's speaking about a Madhyamadikari, how he should respect everyone. So, who all are Vaishnavas? Anyone who takes the name of Krishna, he is a Vaishnava. Once he takes the name of Krishna, he's a Vaishnava, and we should offer respects. A Madhyamadikari should offer respects to him. In fact, I have observed the other thing, that those who are not devotees, who are somehow taking the Lord's name, they in fact offer respects to Vaishnavas or devotees. So more than that, we should offer respects to them. We should offer respects to our peers who are also at the Madhyamadikari platform, and we should serve very intimately the pure devotees. So in that context, he is referring there. Now, this is first point to be understood. Secondly, yes, these, in fact, practically everyone in India, Srila Prabhupada explains, is like dry grass. Dry grass means if you just lit a fire, it will immediately start burning. So practically in India, Krishna consciousness is there naturally. Only it has to be ignited by getting them connected to our Bhagavad Gita course and our preaching and making them devotees. Practically everyone is a devotee, in fact, in one sense. So in that sense, we cannot say that because they have taking the name of Krishna, they are not in the category of non-devotees, they are devotees. But they have still not, they have Sukruti, and that's why taking the name of Krishna. But that Sukruti has to mature in the form of Shraddha. They have to come in the association of devotees, and in the association of devotees, take up to the process of chanting and following the regular principles. So that's when officially we call them as devotees in at least our circles. But in one sense also they are devotees because they are taking the name of Krishna, they are Vaishnavas. So that's how we should also have this kind of a discrimination. I hope it is clear, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes, Ratna Mataji has a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Like in sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when we see that what happens to people who fall down while who are not able to complete the process. And Krishna says that they are born in rich families or devotional families, right? So that is a kind of prarabdha, na, Prabhu? That because of their last karma, whatever, Krishna has given them, he has removed the trouble of, giving up the bad things. They are already in the sattvic bhava. So does that not come under prarabdha, that you are born like that because of your past actions? That you don't have to make that little extra effort of giving up all that. You only have to put your leg in the devotional service and offer your life to the Lord.
Two things here you have to understand very clearly. Then in the sixth chapter, when Krishna is speaking, he is speaking about transcendentalists. There are three kinds of transcendentalists: the Gyanis, the Yogis, and the devotees. And especially the sixth chapter is speaking about Ashtanga Yoga. And it applies to all the three classes, whether it is the devotees or the Gyanis. That means they have taken up to the path of self-realization. The path of self-realization, the Gyanis and the Yogis will attain liberation. The Bhaktas will attain the abode of the Lord. They'll attain the Lord. So all these three kinds of transcendentalists, while endeavoring on their path, that is called as Brahmanai Pata, the path which is leading to Supreme Brahman. It is leading to Brahman. While on that path, if they what? Deviate. If they deviate, what is their situation? So there Krishna is speaking about how these transcendentalists will be born in aristocratic family or in the family of Brahmanas, where there is spiritual culture, and they will take up to spiritual life. Or they will be born in the family of great acharyas, where they will get training right from birth and they will become, great teachers. So this is directly speaking about transcendentalist. Now, somebody who is not a transcendentalist, who is not on the path of Brahmani Pata, he is done pious activities in this life, and especially you can say of a karmi who is a karma kandi, he has done pious activities by which he attains Swarga. And he is also born in a royal family, and he is born in that pious family because of his karma, because of his impressions, because of his prarabdha karma or his aprarabdha karma, whatever it is, punya. The punya or the papa is, both are the same in one sense. So he will be born in this kind of a family, and he, because he's done a lot of pious activities in the previous life, he will get a lot of wealth, lot of opulence, lot of enjoyment in this world. So he is bound to, in one sense, be in this material world for many lifetimes to enjoy the punya what he has done. Just like a person who has committed papa, he has to many lifetimes spend in this world to experience suffering. The person who has performed a lot of punya also have to spend many lifetimes to enjoy the punya phala. Whereas those who have executed the path of self-realization, the Gyanis, Yogis, or the Bhaktas, they take up to their respective paths. They will be attracted to those paths. The Gyanis will be attracted to the Gyan path. The Ashtanga Yogis will further get attracted to their Ashtanga path in the next life. Or the devotees will get attracted to the process of devotional service and further continue. So that is the discussion which is happening in the sixth chapter. So we should not confuse between the two. Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Fine. So now we finish this. Then let us go to this last point, Sukha Pradatvam, we have seen four things. Sukha means four things. Anyone knows what is the Sukha Pradatvam? What are the four things? In Shubhada, four things. Can raise their hand. Anyone remembers? There are four things which Rupa Goswami speaks of. What are the four things? Okay, Nitya Sevini Mataji, yes,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
yes,
The first one is affection for all living entities.
yes, Prinana,
Yes.
okay,
Second one is being attractive to all living entities.
yes, Jagat Anurakta,
And third one is possession of good qualities.
Sadguna Pradatvam,
And the last one is bestowal of happiness.
bestowal of happiness. So for the first two, that is Prinanam and Jagat Anurakta, Rupa Goswami quoted Padma Puran verse. For the third one, Sadguna Pradatvam, he quoted the 5th canto verse. Now he is speaking about Sukha Pradatvam. Sukham Vaishayakam Ramyam Aishwaryam Chet Tat Tridha. There are three kinds of happiness. Sukha Tat Tridha, from material things, Vaishayakam, from Brahman realization, Brahmyam, and from the Lord, Aishwaryam Cha Iti. So I mentioned Jadanand, Brahmanand, and Premanand or Sevanand or Bhaktianand. Usually the word is used as Sevanand. Sevanand. Now, first reference he gives from the Tantra, Yata Tantre. Siddhya Paramashcharya Bhuktir Muktischa Shashvati Nityam Cha Paramananda Bhavet Govinda Bhaktita. Astounding mystic powers, Siddhaya Paramashcharya, material enjoyment, Bhukti, eternal happiness in the realization of Brahman, Mukti, and eternal bliss from the service of the Lord, Nityam Cha Paramanando, all appear from Bhakti to Govind, Bhavet Govinda Bhaktita. So what to speak of Sevanand or Bhakti Anand, bliss from the service of the Lord, even the happiness of Brahman realization and material happiness and even astounding powers come to one who practices Govind Bhakti. Siddhaya refers to mystic powers like becoming very small. Bhukti means material happiness. Mukti means happiness derived from the realization of impersonal Brahman. Paramananda means the bliss derived from the Lord, since it comes at the end of the statement. Parama Ananda or Sevananda, as I mentioned. Now, Srila Prabhupada speaks about this. Happiness derived from pure devotional service is the highest because it is eternal. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It has been stated that great Mayavadi impersonalist sannyasis, very highly educated and almost realized souls, may sometimes take to political activities or to social welfare activities. The reason is that they actually do not derive any ultimate transcendental happiness in the impersonal understanding and therefore must come down to the material platform to take to such mundane affairs. But a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness will never return to any sort of material platform, however alluring and attractive they may be. He always knows that no material welfare activities can compare to the spiritual activity of Krishna consciousness. Even the beginning devotees, by taking up to devotional service can realize this. Now, a second reference he gives. Bhuyo piyache devesha tvaya bhaktir dridastu me ya mokshante chaturvarya falada sukada lata. O Lord of the Devas, Devesha, Dev and Isha becomes Devesha, the Isha of the Devas. I again pray to you. Bhuya api yache. Yache means to pray. Tvai means to you. that I may have firm devotion to you. Dridha bhaktir astume. That bhakti is the creeper, ya lata, which bestows falada, artha, dharma, kama, moksha. Mokshante chatur varya, and also the happiness of realization of the Lord. Sukadha. So this is from the Hari Bhakti Suhodaya. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. I pray that I may have bhakti, the creeper which gives the four fruits of endeavor, culminating in liberation, and which also gives the bliss of realization of the Lord, Sukada, which consequently makes liberation insignificant. So we will see this quality when we discuss the other two qualities, that is moksha lagutakrit. Bhakti makes liberation insignificant. The happiness that bhakti gives will manifest in all three stages, sadhana, bhava, and prema, but with increasing intensity and increased realization of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada. Actually, a pure devotee does not aspire after any of these perfections. So the verses mentioned na siddhi, bhukti, mukti, but Prabhupada is making it very clear. Pure devotee doesn't aspire. Although these siddhis and everything is there, mukti is ready to come and serve, but the pure devotee doesn't have time for it. So he doesn't aspire for these perfections. Because the happiness derived from devotional service in Krishna consciousness is so transcendental and so unlimited that no other happiness can compare to it. It is said that even one drop of happiness in Krishna consciousness stands beyond comparison with the ocean of happiness derived from any other activity. Thus, any person who has developed even a little quantity of pure devotional service can very easily kick out all the other kinds of happiness derived from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered everything to Kolavecha Sridhar, but he rejected everything. So that is regarding the second quality, that is Moksha Kleshagni and Shubhadha. Shubhadha is of these four kinds. So now the next quality is Moksha Lagutakrita and Sudurlabha, which will be very, very interesting discussion, which we will take up in the next week. Yes, Ratna Mataji, you have a question?
Prabhu, we also hear the word Kaivalya means happiness, na Prabhu? So which category does that come into, Prabhu? Or is that
Kaivalya,
not related here?
Kaivalya refers to usually the impersonal liberation, and then it will refer
Brahmananda.
to Brahmananda. It will refer to the Brahmananda.
Ah, okay. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other questions, clarification anyone has? Okay, there's one more hand which is raised. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, a little quantity of pure devotional service. Can you elaborate on that? Prabhu?
Okay. I'm sure all devotees here and myself also, we are not like Ananda Ambudi Vardhanam Prati Padam Purnamrita Aswadanam. We are not at that stage where one name we take and we go into ecstasy and collapse. We are none of us at that stage, because these 7 perfections which are spoken in the Shishashtam, they are only manifested in the Siddhas. They are manifested in the Siddhas. But we have experienced in our practice of devotional life, since maybe 5 years or 10 years or whenever we have taken, we have experienced a kind of happiness in spiritual life which is very, very distinct from the material happiness. And that is why we are still practicing Krishna consciousness. So Krishna, even in the sadhaka stage, in the beginning stages, gives a dose of some kind of spiritual happiness which we experience. and we understand, oh, this is very unique. I have never experienced this kind of happiness. And Krishna gives that faint glimpse by which actually we can sustain our entire Krishna conscious life. That one experience once in this lifetime is sufficient to maintain our Krishna consciousness throughout our life. So we have experienced that, maybe visiting the Dham or during the festival, or that one name we took few years back, one mantra we chanted and we experienced an ecstasy which was not of this world. So we had got that glimpse, and that's why that is what Srila Prabhupada is speaking here. That is what Srila Prabhupada is speaking here. Yes? Okay. Fine. Any other questions? Okay. So we'll stop here then. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.